Welp, I just got done watching Smackdown and it was absolute and utter garbage, okay? Your boys gotta lower down the volume a little bit in this because, people are sleeping, you understand what I'm saying? Got family over, etc. But the deal is this episode was absolute garbage. I didn't even watch this episode actually live, you get what I'm saying? Because the truth is, it was that horrible. I only watched the Cena segment live. I saw the Stephanie Vaquer match. I saw some of the Rey Fenix and Andrade tag match, which was actually really good. And then other than that, everything else was an absolute wash. There was nothing to see here. The stuff with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu was okay, but all of this stuff is getting washed out. It's getting repetitive, and it's getting absolutely boring and garbage. So this will likely be the shortest episode of SmackDown review I think I've ever done because that's just what it is. But your boy will be back to the 15 to 20 minute reviews next week. But for now, we're just gonna have to thug it out like this. So I appreciate you. I respect you. I thank you guys for coming along on this ride, okay? So let's get into the SmackDown review because all of this stuff was skippable garbage. There's no point. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I made like a 9 or a 10 minute SmackDown review a few weeks ago. This is probably going to be even shorter than that, if not in the same length, because nothing happens on these shows. There's no point of breaking everything down if nothing's happening, so let's move on. Starting off, we got an absolute disaster class. This was Charlotte Flair versus Raquel Rodriguez. Charlotte Flair obviously ended up winning this match. There's no surprise here. Obviously, this is setting up the fact that we are going to get Charlotte and Alexa Bliss versus Raquel and Roxanne at SummerSlam for the tag championships that nobody cares about. And just like that, you can already tell the laying the foundations of what's happening with Raw. I really wish I could just yell because of how bad this is booked. But the fact is, this show is trash. Why would anybody want to see Raquel Rodriguez and Charlotte Flair start the show off? Followed before that before that there was a Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. They like framed him for some type of car accident or something. This show was absolute garbage. But the deal is this, right? This match was mid. Nobody cares about it, so we can effectively move on. We then proceed to get a couple of meaningless backstage segments with Damian Priest and Adam Pearce and Carmelo Hayes and a couple other jobbers, because that's what this show is about, okay? So basically, we get a match made for Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes. Once this match happens, it's very evident that Carmelo Hayes obviously is not getting a victory here, so it's either ending in DQ or he's getting chokeslammed through the mat. We end up ending through DQ because a D-lister Black, gets involved and ends up costing Damian Priest the match. Therefore, the match is called a DQ or whatever the heck they call it now, a no contest, whatever the stupid rule Triple H brings in. The gamer, the front. But Triple H basically makes that rule. Damian Priest gets beat up by D-lister Black, and that's the end of the situation. We're now going to get D-lister Black versus Damian Priest probably at SummerSlam in a meaningless singles match that effectively nobody cares about whatsoever. So that's the deal with that. After this, I'm pretty sure we moved on and we ended up getting a Bloodline segment, or the new Bloodline segment, okay? So Solo Sikoa comes out. They tried to frame Jacob Fatu for crashing into the car. Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu, it gets found out that they have actually been framed by Solo, and they come out and brawl with Solo's new Bloodline. Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso spam some of the worst looking super kicks of all time, and then after that takes place, we then are able to get into the ring, and what's his name? Solo Sikoa, I think, what's it called? He got hit with a chair, or he was about to get hit with a chair. He got pulled out, and then Jeffrey Cobb, Jeffington Cobbington goes out there, gets beat up along with what's the other dude's name? What's the other dude's name, bro? All these jobbers blend in. Tongaloa, that's who it was. And then Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu stand tall, and now we're gonna get Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title in a steel cage match at SummerSlam. However, Solo Sikoa got allegedly arrested at the end of this segment. I do agree this was actually pretty creative. I think the whole way they did this with the framing of an injury and framing of someone getting arrested to get them beat up, it was pretty cool. I kind of liked it. So this segment actually is decent. I'll give them that. We then got a singles match with Stephanie Vaquer versus Alba Fire, I think it was. Nobody cares about this. Stephanie Vaquer wins and then beats up Piper Niven afterwards. Let's move on. We then get to the second to last thing of the show, which was basically a fatal 4-way tag match. Why did the Street Profits not get a rematch for the titles they just lost? They don't even get a chance to be number one contenders for the belts again. This is why I'm telling you guys, man, if I could yell. Anyways, this this is the deal. This fatal 4-way tag match has the Motor City Machine Bums, DIY, Andrade and Rey Fenix, and then I think the other one was Fraxium, okay? Now, obviously, Andrade and Rey Fenix are de facto the best tag team here. They're the best in-ring performers here, of course, and they are absolutely incredible. I have to give credit where credit is due. They did an amazing job in this match. I'm not sure about everyone else, but they did an amazing job inside of this match, and I was thoroughly entertained with the stuff that they did specifically. As for the other 3/4 of the match, they were pretty mediocre mediocre at best or pretty repetitive to what we've seen. We've seen Fraxium, DIY, Motor City Machine Bums fight each other nonstop for months. We've seen DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns at least 90 times in the last year if you add it up. You know what I'm saying? So there's no point of talking about that. Rey Fenix and Andrade actually get the W, and hopefully they beat the Wyatt Six for the tag belts next week on SmackDown, because Andrade and Rey Fenix, they're actually really good together. Man, it's actually shocking how good they are. So yeah, there's a deal with that. So far, we're already at the main event, and as you can tell on this show, nothing actually happened. There's been no great stories told. There's what is a decent dynamic there with the solo stuff. I'll give you that. But other than that, there's been no good stories told. There's been no genuinely great matches from start to finish. Nothing actually matters on this show, and the booking so far has been pretty surface level. Triple H or Road Dogg, whoever booked this garbage product, they had a decent stint with the solo story, you know, the whole dynamic with the fake, you know, arrest, and then obviously what happens in the main event segment I thought was actually a decent kind of, you know, narrative they try to do with John Cena skipping out in the match. But the point is with this SmackDown, why these shows continue to get bad ratings. And you know what's actually funny? SmackDown recently, I got around 1 million total viewers or something like that in the US, you know, while it was live. They're getting, you know, bottom of the barrel level ratings, some of the worst ratings SmackDown has ever gotten. The reason for that is not because the product is good, it's because the product is that bad. So because of that, we have to treat it as such, okay? As much as people want to try and make lies and, you know, make over exaggerations about it, no, this show sucks. This episode was not the worst episode I've ever seen, but it was not good. Now, with that being said, let's get into the main event. We now get to the main event, okay? It was John Cena and Cody Rhodes doing their contract signing. Now, before they get to the contract signing, obviously we have to learn about respect and care and love. And I need you. I respect you. I have Wheatley so good I drink it neatly. You know what I'm saying? So that's the deal with that, all right? But the deal is this. Cody Rhodes basically talks about how he's never shied down from a fight. He's always going to battle. He's always going to fight back. He's never going to shy away from contact and shy away from getting what he wants with this, which is that WWE Championship. He talks about how he fought against Seth Rollins with a torn pec. I think he brings up how he fought against Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. He went against the final boss and him doing the selling the soul and all that stuff. So Cody Rhodes was talking his mess this promo, and he brings up how he's going to have, you know, one more task to do with his career, but essentially, you know, at stake, I guess he says, when he's going to fight John Cena for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. We then get to John Cena's entrance. I like the kind of San Antonio Spurs theme, you know, kind of theme colorway / you know, theme for his outfit, his attire here in San Antonio tonight. Pretty cool. I liked it. John Cena then gets in the ring, and basically all the moral of the story is, of all he says, is that he cannot wrestle because he has a movie to shoot in New York. He's mentally and emotionally exhausted. He then apologizes to the fans and thanks them for their respect and their care and their patience. And obviously, I guess this is teasing John Cena is officially a face. I don't know how you get from what he's been doing the last few months since he's turned heel, the last 5 months since he's turned heel, hating the fans and bashing them, to then appreciating them and showing respect. The booking here is an absolute disaster. Doesn't make any sense, okay? And it's stupid. If you're going to have John Cena turn face again, it should be a gradual thing that has signs. He shouldn't just come out and outright apologize. And he literally said the words, "I wish I could put on a firework, big time, amazing show for you guys. This is one of the retirement tour episodes, or one of my retirement tour shows, and I want to make it special for the fans." So you just went from hating the fans for 5 or 6 months, and now all of a sudden you want to do something special for them. You respect them. You appreciate them. You love the fans. You see how quickly things change when the booking starts to mess up? Like this is so stupid, bro. The booking is bad here, and it makes no sense. I like what Cody Rhodes did here, because after this, Cody Rhodes is upset that John Cena says he can't wrestle at SummerSlam, and then Cody Rhodes finds him on the ramp, beats him up, then John Cena counters him and beats him up for a second, and then Cena gets in the ring and tries to hit Cody with the belt. Cody dodges, then takes the belt from Cena and hits Cena with the belt, and then splashes him through the table where the contract signing was supposed to be, and then he grabs John Cena's hand as John Cena's knocked out and makes him physically sign the contract using his hand. So I thought that was kind of cool and kind of creative. We saw a darker, edgy version of Cody Rhodes tonight, obviously teasing he's probably going to go heel soon in the near future, but even if he doesn't, we'll probably just get a more anti-hero-esque version of Cody Rhodes going forward, and that's just what it is. I thought this final segment was pretty mediocre at best. The reason it's mediocre, not good, is because everything that happened with Cena made no sense and was just straight up stupid. But I do appreciate them at least trying something new, having Cody splash Cena and then force him to sign the contract while knocked out, and it's also a street fight match now for the WWE title at SummerSlam. So not the worst segment in the world, but this still isn't good, and the booking is inconsistent and bad. Because I didn't have to go through the slogfest live of watching this for 2 hours and just had to, I watched maybe 30 to 40% of it live, but the other 60%, I didn't have to watch live and put myself through that garbage for this, for, you know, the 50 billionth week in a row. So because I didn't witness it live, this rating might be a little bit nicer than normal, but I'm going to give this show like a 5 out of 10. Not the worst stuff I've seen, not the best stuff, just pretty mid. I'd say this is mid/below mid. Some of the parts of the night were garbage. Most of it's skippable trash and no one cares about it. And the fact that this is a few weeks away from SummerSlam and this show means this little and nothing happened at all that actually matters, I'm going to downgrade this now to a 4 now that I think about it. But again, not the worst episode ever, not trash, but I would say mid/below mid, okay? This was a disappointment, but I'm glad I didn't have to watch it live. But don't worry, Raw and SmackDown next week, your boy's going to be watching it live, and we're going to be checking it out, and we'll be back just as normal. So thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Thank you for bearing with me in this video. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out, and one love.